Welcome everyone today to Unity on the River. We're going to start with our opening song. This is My Life is in You, Lord. All right, Stevie, kick us off. Here we go! My life is in you, Lord. My strength is in you, Lord. My hope is in you, Lord. In you, it's in you. My life is in you, Lord. My strength is in you, Lord. My hope is in you, Lord. In you, it's in you. I will praise you with all of my life. I will praise you with all of my strength, all of my love, all of my strength, all of my hope is in you. My life is in you, Lord. My strength is in you, Lord. My hope is in you, Lord. In you, it's in you. My life is in you, Lord. My strength is in you, Lord. My hope is in you, Lord. In you, take a key. My life is in you, Lord. My strength is in you, Lord. My hope is in you, Lord. In you, it's in you. My life is in you, Lord. My strength is in you, Lord. My hope is in you, Lord. In you, it's in you. You, it's in you. You, it's in you. It's in you. Woo! All right. Welcome to Unity on the River. Please stay standing if you feel comfortable, and if you feel comfortable joining a hand, and we'll go into Surely the Presence.
The presence of God is in this place, flowing through the energy of the hands beside us and the hearts in front of us and behind us, next to us. God's grace is here because you are here. And we give great thanks as we celebrate spiritual community together, a time of coming together to celebrate and stand in the joy of the truth that there is one power and one presence in our lives. It is God, it is good, it is us. And we say, amen.
Amen. Be the light. See the light. Be the light. See the light. light. See the light. Be the light. See the light. Be the light. See the light. Oh, you've got to be the light. If you want to see the light, you've got to be the light. If you want to see the light, you've got to be the light. If you want to see the light, because you reap what you sow, you meet what you know, and you see what you believe. Give a little bit of that good thing if you want to receive. Give a little bit of that good thing if you want to receive. You've got to be the light, yeah, if you want to see the light. Got to be the light, if you want to see the light. You've got to be the light, if you want to see the light. Because you reap what you sow, you reap what you know, and you see what you believe. Give a little bit of that good thing if you want to receive. Give a little bit of that good thing if you want to receive. Don't tell me that your life is a desert. Somebody gotta quench your thirst. You can dance and pray for the water. You gotta give your life to it first. You've got to be the light if you wanna see the light. You've got to be the light if you wanna see the light. You've got to be the light if you wanna see the light. Because you reap what you sow, you reap what you know, and you see what you believe. Give a little bit of that good thing if you wanna receive. Give a little bit of that good thing if you wanna take a key. You've got to be the light if you wanna see the light. Come on, people. Be the light. Here we go. If you want to see the light, don't be shy. Be the light. There you go. If you want to see the light, keep going, gang. Be the light. If you want to see the light, you've got to be the light. If you want to see the light, you've got to be the light. If you want to see the light, you've got to be the light. If you want to see the light, because you reap what you sow, you reap what you know, and you see what you believe. Give a little bit of that good thing if you want to receive. Give a little bit of that good thing if you want to receive. One more time. Give a little bit of that good thing if you want to receive.
Beautiful opening to our service. Maura Lynch and the band and the Unity Choir. Thank you, everybody. It's awesome.
Leslie's with us today and Alex Valente on the keys.
Beautiful. It's like going to a concert. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Unity on the River. My name is Jackie Woodside, and I will be facilitating the service with you this morning. And sharing the service today will be our Reverend Ogun Holder. He will be breaking... Woo! Welcome, Ogun. Ogun is starting us off this new year by centering us deeply in the unity movement and in the unity principles, and he's doing a 5-part series called Pwered by Principle, or a 3-part series called Pwered by Principle. Yes, I am a trained professional. This is day number 2 of the 3-part series, and today he will be talking about create it and pray on it. All right, so that was what we'll be doing a little bit later today. As we think about getting ourselves beginning on the service today, let's call to mind our core values. We are a church of celebration, inspiration, transformation, oneness, and joy. That is who we are. Take those core values into your heart center now. Feel the vibration of them as we say together the mission of Unity on the River. We are a vibrant spiritual community that celebrates the presence in all and awakens humanity to its divinity. And our vision statement, centered in love, we joyously co-create a world of oneness, peace, and harmony. So that's what we'll be up to today. Carol will have a few announcements later on, but it is, it's an epic new year, 2015. It's the beginning of a new ministry for us here at Unity on the River, and the excitement just continues. Ogun's going to start teaching a class this week, and we're going to hear more about that. And the energy around here in this congregation just feels so lovely. So thank you for taking your time to be here together this morning as spiritual family. So we'd like to welcome anyone who's with us this morning for the first time, hearing about all this newness. If you are new to us here today, please just raise your hand so that we may welcome you to our church. And someone from our welcome team will bring you a flower. Good morning. Behind you and here and over here. Wow, all these new folks with us this morning. And over there. Great. Well, we do welcome you to our ministry today, and what we want to share with you is that we welcome all paths to God, and we're happy that your path led us to us this morning and to celebrate services with us. Someone from our welcome team will greet you after services today to take you to our welcome table, answer any questions you might have about our ministry, but thank you for being with us. Your presence certainly enriches our experience of worship this morning, so thank you for being here. We also, yes, thank you. Welcome. Welcome. So, of course, we also are a live streaming church because we're so hip and cool. So in the back, you see that there is a camera. Let's say hello to our live streamers this morning. It's awesome. Good morning, streamers. Thank you for taking your time to be here with us in celebration, even though you can't be here physically. So for those of you who travel for business, pleasure, or family, please know if you're not with us on a Sunday morning, go to www.unityontheriver.org, click on Watch Us Now, and you can watch anytime via live stream. All right, this is the time that we, that we welcome Carol. Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking. It's the time that we welcome Carol to our platform to give us our celebrations.
Thank you. I stand in the presence. First of all, I'd like to thank everyone who came at 10 o'clock yesterday morning to undecorate the sanctuary and the rest of the center. Would you please stand so we can recognize you and appreciate you?
Oh, thanks so much.
Thank you. And particular thank you to Seth for coordinating all of this, Seth Walrazak, and for Edith Hike for your wonderful organizational skills. I've never seen anything like it. It's great. And one more announcement. Today, after service at noon, is a meet and greet with Reverend Ogun Holder. So if you would like to come and join us, it's a chance to get better acquainted. You may have some questions that you would like to ask, and that you're welcome to do that. We said noon, but it'll be more like a half an hour when the service ends. So you may hear us come out and say, "Come on in," and that's what we'll do and have the meet and greet.
Thank you, Carol. So, Ogun is here with us, only our second week, and I'm sure some of you perhaps have not had the time to sit down and get to know him. I know some of you attended perhaps workshops by him or classes, but, take the opportunity to get to know Ogun a little bit better, and of course to give him a warm Unity welcome as he continues to make his transition. Well, not that kind of transition, but you know what I'm saying. Make your transition here from Gaithersburg. Stepped over that one really well, didn't I? Welcome, Og. Oh, yeah, just moving right along. This is the time in our service that we greet one another in love. And in our congregation, when we greet one another with a handshake or a hug, and simply with the word namaste, which means the divine in me greets and recognizes the divine in you. And I greet you this morning, namaste.
Hi, everybody. Namaste. This song came to me. I do believe truly in my heart that prayer changes everything and transforms everything. And I was praying into my shadow, doing some shadow work, and the darkness, that place that where I separate from you, and make myself better or less than. So this song came to me from the divine, and I hope you'll all join in as we also pray over what's happening in Europe and the ways that we've separated, and we pray for everyone to grow and glow. Out of ignorance and greed, pray for justice, for the sick and the oppressed, pray for the changes that will bring about what is best for prayer. Pray into darkness, to the psychopathic ache, pray into hell, until heaven's heart does break. Pray for the killers, for the rapist in us all. Pray for compassion and forgiveness, for the rise and for the fall, for prayer changes everything. Prayer changes everything. Pray for the planet. Fire, water, sky, pray for all beings, those who crawl and those who fly. Pray for hope, pray for faith, pray for peace to rise above. Keep praying, keep praying, keep praying. Everyone, pray.
About prayer first, because prayer is a reflection of our understanding of God and of ourselves in relation to, with, and as God. Okay, our prayer reflects that. One of the things I didn't mention last week, but it's really worth mentioning. Brian, I'm hearing like a deep hum buzz going on. If you need to turn me down a little bit, we can do that. One of the things I didn't mention last week was an idea called embedded theology, which is just a fancy word for saying whatever belief system around God that we first met and encountered when we were, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years old, those developmental years, that first idea stuck with us. It's embedded in us. We can't get rid of it. We can reframe it, we can learn something new, but it's kind of our default. It's called embedded. Something that's embedded always stays, okay? And we kind of experience that when something happens in our life, and we've all been through, I'll speak for myself, because nobody else does this. I've been a through student for a lot of years, and then something happens in life, and I shake my fist and say, God, really? Who am I talking to, right? But that was how I learned about God, that God was up there making this happen, okay? And what we know is God is here making this happen. We are making this happen, okay? But that's what the embedded stuff does, which is always fascinating to talk to adults who were raised in unity. And when I tell them of that experience, they're like, yeah, I don't get that. I don't, why would you do that? They don't get it because that's not their embedded theology, okay? And our prayers are also a reflection of that embedded theology. The very first prayer I learned, and some of you may have learned this, now I lay me down to sleep, I pray the Lord my soul to keep, and if I should die before I wake, I pray the Lord my soul to keep. That's a very common prayer. It came out of the 18th century. Okay, and this prayer for that long has been scaring us to death when you think about it. No pun intended. Okay, but I learned this prayer. I was taught this prayer, and somewhere around 7, after saying this prayer by rote for about 3 years, like one night I was like, wait a minute. Are you saying I might die in my sleep? Like that thought really hadn't occurred. And not only might I die in my sleep, but if you look at the prayer that says, I pray the Lord my soul to take, there's a chance he might say no. Right? What is that about? So not only might I die in my sleep, but there's a chance God may not take my soul to wherever God takes souls. Then what happens? Like how hard do I have to pray to make sure that happens? Lost a lot of sleep for a few months because of that. It's like scared to fall asleep. But that's an idea of that embedded belief that you grow up with. So we become adults, and our view and idea of God evolves. It evolves, it changes, it expands. Does our prayer evolve, expand too? Or do we still pray as though we are still sometimes coming from that embedded place of needing to ask for? Charles Fillmore, co-founder of Unity, says this about prayer. Prayer is communion between God and man. Now, last week we talked about words like between and those location-type words that are really deceptive because the idea of God, the essence of God, the presence of God is beyond location. Okay? So between is a tricky word. Between implies that there is some space or something. No. But communion, when you look at the word communion, and I had to look this up because talk about your embedded things again, when I hear the word communion, I'm thinking like wafers and wine and bread and all that kind of stuff, okay? But communion, when you look in the dictionary, the acts of sharing, holding in common, participation, intimacy, and it comes from the original Latin meaning equivalent to, okay? The original root of the word communion means equivalent to, equal to. So prayer is saying there is an equivalence of God and man, which is truly what our first two principles were saying, that we talked about last week. All is in God, God is in all. I am in God, God is in me. Okay? Again, those location words can be tricky, because in our three-dimensional space, in means something, but what we're basically saying is that there is no separation. God is in all is in God. So we kind of got to shift our thinking about praying now, because if there's no to pray to, no God to up there to pray to, what does prayer become? Charles Fillmore again, prayer is an affirmation of truth that eternally exists, but which has not yet come into consciousness. It comes into consciousness not by supplication, but by affirmation. Say that again. It comes into consciousness not by supplication or begging or asking or pleading or cajoling or bargaining, but by affirmation, stating, proclaiming, acknowledging. Okay? And the tricky thing for us human beings is we only want to affirm things that look like they're already happening. Okay? It's hard to affirm health when we feel sick. It's hard for us to affirm abundance when it may not look like we got a lot of zeros in that checking account. Okay? It's hard for us. That's not how we're designed to be. We're designed to recognize where there needs to be a change and go change it. Right? That kind of makes sense. But here, from the spiritual perspective, we affirm that which we wish to experience. That's what prayer is. Affirming a truth that may not yet come into our consciousness or our experience of reality. That's what prayer is in unity. We call it affirmative prayer, declaring the truth. The truth is, I am abundant. The reality may be, I need to go find a job to go put some dollars in the checking account. Okay? Truth and reality, not the same thing. And sometimes we hear things, well, that's not real, that's just an illusion. Okay? Reality comes and goes. Reality changes. Reality is not constant. What's real today is not real tomorrow. Okay? But there are realities. Truth. Capital T, truth. Truth is immutable. It does not change. It cannot change, even if you try to change it. This is an abundant universe. There's nothing we can do to change that. I don't know why we would want to change it, but there's nothing we can do to change that. This universe is so vast and endless. You ever look at those pictures of like the galaxy, and there's like the faintest dot in the bottom left corner? You are here. Like, if that doesn't all and depress you all at the same time, you know? Endless, it's abundant. This very planet is abundant. We don't have a problem with abundance. We have a problem with distribution. You know, lots more being in smaller spaces. And people who needed more not having access to it. That's the problem, not the problem of substance and abundance, okay? So this is what prayer becomes. Prayer becomes a practice in affirming a truth so that then we begin the process of bringing it into our consciousness, our experience of being. While we're on the topic of prayer, let's talk a little bit about meditation. Because in Unity, we often talk about prayer and meditation, and we like to use the words interchangeably. They're not the same thing, okay? Prayer is affirming a spiritual truth. Meditation is abiding in the silence. What is this silence of which we talk about? Silence is not necessarily quietness as an absence of sound, even though that really helps when you're meditating. No one wants to meditate with a jackhammer going on outside. That's a little distracting. Okay, so when we talk about how we meditate, you know, silence is a good thing. But that idea of meditating, of sitting in the silence, and the silence is a state of consciousness beyond our awareness. Okay, beyond these five senses. We are five sensory people. Some people even say we have a sixth sense about things, the intuition. But even beyond that, that's the capital S, silence. That's a place beyond our awareness, a place of no awareness. If we talk about, as we did last week, this idea of God being both an absence and a presence, a thing and a no thing, the silence is that place. If we want to say there is a place where we can find it. Now, here's the thing about the silence. Because it is a place of no awareness and doesn't respond to our five senses, we don't know when we're there. We can't know when we're there. Think about that for a minute. If the silence is a place of no awareness, a place where there's no up, down, here, there, a place of all but nothing at the same time, then how will we know we're there? Because our senses perceive location by, relativity. We talked about that last week. So how do we know when we're there? We don't. When we come out of being there, we may have a sense of, ooh, what just happened? I experienced that once in my life, just once. I don't know if that is a good thing to boast about as a spiritual leader, but just once. I'll admit, we're all on the path. I got no secrets. We're all on the path. Just one time, I sat to meditate. Can we turn me down just a little bit more? Still a little bit buzzing there. I sat down to meditate. I'm doing my, usual meditation, and when some point, I suddenly became aware that I was in a place where I wasn't aware that I was, if you can follow that. And the best way can describe it, and again, words always fail. The best way can describe it is a place so infinitely small that everything was in its infiniteness. A place where it was so bright I couldn't see. It was, these are just words, okay? It was a place where I don't know where when I looked at the clock, after I opened my eyes, maybe a couple minutes had gone by, but it felt endless. It was a place that when I came back to my awareness, I was so euphoric. I was like, I gotta do that again. And I haven't since, because the best way to not experience something is to want it. Okay? That's the paradox. The best way to avoid experiencing something is to really want it and strive for it. And it's not about striving. It's not about trying to achieve it. But I've tasted it, and I want it again. So I'm stuck in this place of I want it again, but I don't want it again. I'm going to sit and meditate, but I don't want it. If the silence is listening, I don't want you. Don't want you, really. But that's not the end game. It's nice to have that experience, but that's truly not the point of it. The point in prayer, of both prayer and meditation, the point of prayer and meditation is to bring us to a point of being aware of how we want to show up in the world. It's about remaking our consciousness, remaking that embedded stuff, remaking how we perceive ourselves and the rest of the world and each other. Prayer and meditation takes us to that and brings us through the process of doing that so that we can show up in the world as that Christ consciousness, as the God that we truly are. And when we show up as that, that's how we create our experience. Okay? That's how we create our experience. Because it shifts us. We have so we say God is creation. When you talk about words to describe God, God is creation, the infinitesimal and infinite creative energy of the universe is God. And it's us too. Okay? But what are we using it for? Parking spaces. Little stuff like that. Little stuff like that. Come on, park at the far end and walk. Your body needs it. Forget about parking spaces. Okay? No. You want to create a life experience. And creating a life experience needs to be distinguished from making things happen. Okay? And this is where that third principle sometimes gets mixed in with some prosperity teachings. You need to have a handle on that third principle when we study prosperity teachings, and I hope some of you are signing up and taking Prosperity Plus, right? Because you'll hear a lot more about this. But truly what it is about is when we transform ourselves, when we transform ourselves, the world transforms around us. Okay? So let me back up a little bit and ask you, why do you want the things you want? Why do you have the desires that you have? What do you ultimately want in life? You want, some basic stuff. You want safety and security. You want those basic needs met. You want to be loved. You want peace. You want these things, so we go out and try to create our life so that these things happen. And it's not how it works. How it really works is you start with the things happening, and then the world creates itself around you to provide those. And then ultimately what you realize is that when you are at peace in your soul, it doesn't matter what's out there. You become the calm of the storm. You become the eye of the hurricane. It starts here. And we get there through prayer and meditation. Some other things about prayer and meditation. Here's a great quote, another longtime Unity author, Sue Seekin. She says, "True prayer is not asking for things. Prayer is the lifting of the consciousness." And I'm going to use the word expanding. I mentioned this last week. Lifting implies just going up. And, this is good, this not so good. No, expanding all directions. So prayer is the expanding of the consciousness to the place where these things are. Let me read the whole quote. "True prayer is not asking for things. Prayer is the expanding of the consciousness to the place where these things are." And where are these things that we ultimately want? Where's the peace? Where's the love? Where's the wisdom? Where's the joy? It is in God. It is God. So we expand our consciousness to that place. And when we are ultimately the joy, the peace, the wisdom, and the love that we seek, because we are imbued with that same creative energy, suddenly that's all we're going to see around us. That is the lens through which we will view the world. And we will be happy-go-lucky people. And things are just going to, we talk about things dropping in our lap. Things don't drop into our lap. It's like a filter, if you want. Anything that doesn't respond to that vibration of which we are feeling is going to fall away. Eric Butterworth, another longtime Unity minister, reminds us, again, we don't pray to God, we pray from God. We don't pray to God, we pray from God. Just like last week, we didn't write letters to God, we wrote letters from God. When we pray, we are affirming from that consciousness of the reality that we are the God that we seek. Not we, the personality of us, but we, the innate nature of us. So we have to remind ourselves about that. Now I know what you're thinking. Reverend Ogun, does that mean I can't pray for an outcome? Or if somebody's in pain or suffering, I can't pray for them. Somebody's sick, I can't pray for them. What are you saying? No, I'm saying you can pray for them, but when you pray for them, what does that really mean? If you are praying for a specific outcome and you're asking God to heal them, that's, in my book, not so much okay. When you pray, you affirm their wholeness, and it reminds both you and them that regardless of the circumstances of the health or whatever is going on, regardless of the reality, there is a deeper truth. And when we realign ourselves with that deeper truth, and that deeper truth becomes all that is oozing out of our consciousness, the rest of the world is going to catch up eventually. And let's not be attached to how long that takes. We are so obsessed with time. There is no time in God. That doesn't mean you come to church late. Get here at 10. But time is a concept of our imagination. Time is just a method we use to order things so that, we can order things. We like order in our lives. Okay? But in ultimate truth, the time does not exist. Okay? you want to blow your mind, read a lot of quantum physics about time and everything existing in the now moment, and there's only now, and we can go down that rabbit hole. We won't today. That's maybe a little bit later. But that's what it's all about. Okay? And if you really, again, truly want to experience that sense of timelessness, that's what you experience when you sit in meditation. Don't sit in meditation with that idea of, okay, got the situation in my life, gonna go meditate and see what Spirit has to say for me. Okay? Sometimes we do that in unity. Remember what I said a few weeks ago before I got here, you're gonna get a little uncomfortable with some things that I say. And I'm okay with you being uncomfortable. Okay? Just keep coming back. The discomfort will wear off. Okay? It will, I guarantee you, it will wear off. But if you leave and don't come back in that state of discomfort, you're going to stay uncomfortable, okay? Come back. Be uncomfortable with other people. Strength in numbers, that kind of idea. But you sit in meditation with no goal in mind. Just sit in the silence. Rumi said it best. There's a great quote by Rumi. Silence is the language of God. All else is poor translation. Silence is the language of God. That deep, abiding silence beyond our senses, that is what, again, we're after, but not really silence, not really after you. But when that, you can cultivate that practice, again, it shifts us. It shifts us all the way to our core. My embedded theology might still be there, but it's almost at the point where it's not my default theology anymore. And when things happen now, I don't shake my fist and say, "Oh, really, God?" I say it's another opportunity. It's another opportunity for me to show up as the presence and the power that is God. And then I get to choose how I'm going to do that. I get to choose my life experience. I get to choose how I show up as God in the midst of all these things. Often in unity, and I'll wrap up with this, often in unity, we look at this third principle as like a magic spell, that we're gonna think it, and boom, there's gonna be. I have some bad news for you. This is not Hogwarts. You are not Harry Potter. This is not how it works. Okay, it's not what it's about. It's not about. It's again about shifting who we are. Ultimately, the world around us responds to truly what our heart intention is. So you could say all the great words, but unless at your core there hasn't been a transformation, the world is going to respond to what's at your core. There's a story about a woman who got these 2 parrots, and they said some of the most sexual, lascivious things, and she realized these parrots were brought up in a brothel. And they're saying all these things, and she's like, "Oh my God, what am I going to do?" So she goes to her priest. These were 2 female parrots, by the way. She goes to her priest and says to the priest, what can I do? And the priest says, "This is an easy fix. I also have 2 parrots, Francis and Peter, and I've taught them how to pray. I've taught them how to count the rosary beads and recite stuff. So you bring your 2 parrots, we'll put them with Peter and Francis, and they will transform them." So the woman brings the 2 parrots, put them in the cage next to Francis and Peter, and the parrots and the other parrots start saying the things that they picked up in the brothel. And Francis turns to Peter and says, "Put away your beads. Our prayers have been answered." The universe responds to truly what is in our hearts and consciousness. It truly does. So what is ultimately there? Is it a belief in love and wisdom, or is it the belief that the world's a scary place? Einstein said it, you know. There are two types of people: those who believe the universe is I'm paraphrasing, wonderful, beautiful place, or those who believe it's a scary place. You know, what ultimately is your default and embedded beliefs? You've got to take a look at these. And then we begin to transform them through prayer, through affirming the truth, through meditation, sitting in that silence. And the last thing I mentioned is when we talk about this meditation, it does not always need to be this grandiose experience of sitting on the cushion for 30 minutes with the candles and the scents and all that. That's great too. I do that too. But meditation and abiding in the silence can be as quick as a moment. Remember, there's no time in God. And when we ask ourselves how we do that in this world, when we got so much on our schedule and, you know, even more technological distractions and social media distractions with Facebook, how do we find the time? Well, we don't fight technology, we use it to our benefit. These are two apps I love. There's an app for that. Don't sue me, Apple. I'm just saying that. Two apps I use. One of them is the Insight Timer. That's a screenshot on the left. I don't know if you can see it. But some of you know about these. It's basically a countdown timer that I can put in the time and it rings the bell. And it's set up by default that when it's running, it mutes everything else on the phone. So nothing else, no other notifications come in. And there's a social aspect to it. You can connect with other people and so on and so forth. And when you're done, it tells you all the other people who'd been using the app. You just meditated with 8,000 people. Woohoo! You know, whatever. That's a cool app I like. But the other one is my favorite. It's called the Mindfulness Bell. And some of you might know this practice. It's a practice that comes out of the Zen Buddhist tradition. And they do this at Thich Nhat Hanh's Plum Village, where at a certain period of the day, randomly, the bell rings, the big monastery bell rings, and everyone stops what they're doing and just pauses. And then go on with their day. So there's an app where you can set it to go off randomly through the day, and when that app sounds, the nice bell chime sound, you pause. Just stop. Take a breath. Turn within. Maybe observe your thoughts. Affirm a truth. And move on. And you don't have to use the app. Anything can be a bell of mindfulness. Some people use a traffic light, a red light, not the green light, the red light. Where you come upon a red light, you just stop for a moment, take a breath. Some people I know use the ringing of their phone. Okay, so the phone rings, you got a few rings before it kicks the voicemail. So just take a breath. Can you imagine how our conversations would go if we do that every single time? Because you know sometimes the phone rings and you don't recognize the number. Oh, telemarketer. The voicemail and whatever, you know, or I don't really want to talk to this person now, whatever. You know, we all have those moments. But to let that be the thing that allows you to. This is how transformation happens. One practice at a time, one moment at a time, one breath at a time. Not necessarily at scheduled times, but possibly every time. Speaking of meditation, let's do some now. So what I want you to do today as the singers get ready is clear your laps, any books, purses, papers, anything that could perhaps be a physical distraction right now. I want you to sit, both feet grounded on the floor if possible. Just let your hands rest gently on your lap. I like the upturned, open palms. It's kind of symbolic of being open and receptive, but just let them rest there. And you want your spine to be straight. You don't want to be tense. You don't want to be hunched over either. Just sit. If you're comfortable, close your eyes. And And we're going to begin to let the music take us in.
We are connected by the heart. Where do you end? Where do I start? Anything you pray for, if fear is in your way, I am here to listen to anything you need to say. Your prayer is my prayer too. Your prayer is my prayer too. Whatever you feel, I feel too. You're a part of me, I'm a part of you. Your prayer is my prayer too. My prayer too.
So just take a breath. And allow your attention right now to shift to that breath. Follow that breath as it enters, pauses, leaves. Don't try to force a slow breathe in, just breathe. Follow. This breath is our anchor, our guide. Should we become distracted, as our mind often does, without judgment, without frustration, simply return it to the breath. And without any expectations or desires, just allow that attention as it follows the breath. Be more present now, to turn deeper within. All is in God. God is in all. We are in God. God is in us. On the in-breath, allow your mind to say the words, I am. On the out-breath, God is. I am. God is. I am. God is. Let's take this mantra into the silence. I am. God is. God is, I am. There is no greater truth. I am. God is. Let this be your affirmation this week. In your moments of awakeness, in your moments of silence. God is. I am. God is. I am. Let's leave the meditation as we entered it with song. Your prayer is my prayer. And as we sing it again, let's bring the prayer box forward.
I hear the worries that are in your way. There's nothing I could do to take your pain away, but I'll help you reconnect with voices deep inside. Let angels wrap you in their arms and let spirit be your guide. Your prayer is my prayer too. Your prayer is my prayer too. Whatever you feel, I feel too. You're a part of me and I'm a part of you. Your prayer is my prayer too. My prayer too.
So as we consider the names in this prayer box, we affirm the truth that in and as the life of each of these individuals, there is God. And we affirm that they come to a remembrance of that in their lives. This is indeed the only prayer we ever need prayer for another. Remember that you are the very expression and embodiment of the one power and the one presence. And all that you seek is already yours. I am, God is, so it is.
That was really good. Thank you, Reverend Ogun. It's really lovely, lovely meditation. I am, God is. Let's just continue in that energy as we take this opportunity to, as we have just been spiritually fed, for us to also return that goodness back to the source of our spiritual nourishment by bringing forth the blessings of our tithes and offerings. Let's say the blessing together. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive.
I'd like to invite Alex into singing a solo today. His voice is extraordinary, and he wrote this really wonderful song which really fit in the theme of creating our own experience. And this is called A Road Without a Name.
I hope you enjoy it. Standing on the cliffside, looking out at the sea, watching the waves crash against the shore. They seem to know where they're going, never question why, each one the same as before. But me, I don't really know who I am or what's expected of me. And so I keep on searching for who I was meant to be, so I can find what I'm looking for. Do I even know what that is? Do I know where I've come from or where I am headed? Or am I going down a road that has no name? A road with no name. Staring out the window, looking out at the rain, watching the raindrops coming down. They seem to know their purpose, each one is the same, each one is splashing against the ground. But me, I don't really know why I'm here or what is out there for me. And so I keep on searching for who I was meant to be, so I can find what I'm looking for. Do I even know what that is? Do I know where I've come from or where I am headed? Or am I going down a road that has no name? A road with no name. People always tell you to follow your dreams, but what if I have no dreams to follow? People always tell you to listen to your heart. People always say that we all play a part, but sometimes I don't even know where to start. I must find out who I am. There's something out there for me, and so I keep on searching for who I was meant to be. And I finally know who at ease. And I know where I've come from, I'll find my way. I'll be running down that well-worn way, with the wind in my hair and the sun on my face. And I won't look back, no, I'll find my place. And I finally have a road with a name.
Valente, the best.
I'm so proud of this guy. I've taught him since he was a teenager, and then he teaches me. You're so great.
When we feel this energy around us, we feel the love and the energy and the enthusiasm that's come forth as these gifts and with these gifts. We're grateful for the reception of these gifts, but we're also grateful for the love in which they have been given. We affirm that these gifts go out from this ministry, blessing all that we touch and beyond and beyond. And so it is. Amen. Alex, that was awesome. That was really awesome. You reminded me of, I've seen Les Mis only about 10 times, and I'm sure it's not the tenor. I'm sure I've heard probably 5 or 6 different tenors in the 6 or 7 times I've heard the show. But it sounded like a Broadway tenor voice, so it was really lovely. Oh, great, yes. Let's do that too. So a couple things that we got to clean up. So those of you who are with us on streaming, I know you've had a great service with us today, and as we just received and blessed our tithes and offerings, please feel free to make your offering via the PayPal button that's on your screen, and we're always more than happy to receive the gifts that support the ongoing work of the streaming as well. So we also have chaplains that are available for prayer. If the chaplains would please be recognized in the 4 corners. These fine souls are here to greet you and meet with you after services today. If you've come here with anything heavy on your heart, or perhaps a joy and a celebration that you just want blessings and prayer, please meet with one of these fine souls, and they will meet with you confidentially and pray with you after services. So thank you, chaplains, for holding sacred space and for being in sacred service today. Carol?
Annual meeting coming right up. It is Sunday, February 1st. It is when you will meet those people nominated to be on the board and have an opportunity to vote for those people who are running for the board if you are a member here. Also, there'll be a potluck. We'll let you know more about that, what we need, probably next week. So mark your calendars for February 1st. Life of prayer. Wow, Ogun, just today, listening to you, I'm just so looking forward to my 4th time taking Life of Prayer. And there's so much more. There's maybe 25 people signed up. We have 2 pages, so please sign up. It is on Wednesdays. It's for 5 weeks, starting this week, and I believe it's 7 to 9. So you are so welcome. There is a flyer in your packet that tells you more about the class. And also, we have another class with Reverend Ogun, Metaphysics 2, Part 1. This one will meet on Saturdays. There's a sign up for that in hospitality as well, starting the 24th and the 31st, 10 to 1, and February 7th, and that one will be 10 to 2. People can take this for SEE credit or not. I'm taking it for enrichment. Go, Carol. And I'm going to call, yes. Right, otherwise it's $120, but there is an early bird discount. Okay, I'm going to call Tom Pellini to come up to the platform. He is our teacher of Prosperity Plus 2, and he can share better with you than I about the class.
I stand in the presence. So what a great commercial for Prosperity Plus 2, Reverend. Thank you very much. So if you've taken a prosperity course before, you've read books, you've done some work, and you're just not seeing the results, this may be the course for you. So what we learned today is that it's not enough to know the principles, we have to live the principles. So if you've heard of the law of attraction, that's a secondary law. So the primary law is a law of vibration. And so when we live and resonate the vibration of who we want to be, of what we want to show up in our life, that's when we see the results. So, and I don't want to take your thunder away for next week, Reverend, but it's not enough to know the truth, we must live it. And so that's what we'll be doing for 10 weeks. So if you're feeling a little bit of hesitation about 10 weeks, why does it have to be so long? Just feel good it was going to be 12 weeks, but Mary Mann and Morrissey said that she cut it back to 10 weeks because of some reservations about that. But living and knowing the truth of who you are and who you want to be and who you want to show up. So I invite you to join me January 26th. You're going to learn how to write your goals, write your visions, and then actually see those manifesting. So, hope to see you. Thank you.
We're always grateful for all of the hearts and hands that is required and that people are stepping up to be in sacred service here for our services every Sunday. These are some of the people that have helped put together our service and experience today. Please know that as you interact with people in hospitality, in the bookstore, those who are caring for our children and youth and family, those on sound and PowerPoint, that everyone here really is a volunteer, that we're here because we love this community and we are committed to co-creating it together. So thank you. Anybody else? And those on the Board of Trustees, I'm also on the Board of Trustees, so would the board please stand? And I think we have a slide for that. So who's here on the board today? Peter Stringham, John. So if you have any questions about our ministry or anything about what's happening here at Unity on the River during this continued transition, please see one of these board members. And we are looking forward at the annual meeting to inviting on probably 2 or 3 new board members. We've had some wonderful applications. Thank you for all of you who have expressed interest and stepped forward. Maura, I hear that you wrote a new song for us today. I'm looking forward to it. Let's bring you back on.
Oh, thanks. So for those of you who came to the Christmas concert, right at the end of the show, Reverend Ogun came up like the monster musician that he is. He hasn't shown that part yet. But he comes up and he's like, oh, girl, check out this tune that he wanted for today. And it was a Christina Aguilera tune, Makes Me Want to Pray, and I was pumped. Really pumped. And then we started talking about licensing. He was like, we might not have the license yet. And where we stream, it's really important to honor the artists. So, not wanting to bum Reverend Ogun out wanting that great tune, I said, well, let's try to write one. Because he said he stepped out of his comfort zone to rap the very first time he appeared as our minister. So I thought, well, okay, here we go. Now I'm going to pray. Hit it, Stevie. I thank Les for coming up and for Maggie to laying down that gospel, mama. Oh, oh, oh. Yeah. Well, all right. I got a feeling deep inside of me, and tingling fingers running through the breeze. Stirring in my soul is a love song connecting all of me in a sweet release. but I've been running from the past. What is forgiveness and does it last? Freedom from the wounds will come so soon when I choose the love that renews. What is this feeling? So strong, so deep, how could I miss it? The light in me, the spirit's changing. Now I'm gonna pray, be the light, feel the love, pray. And now I'm gonna pray, be the light, and feel the love, pray. Oh, there were times when this wasn't so. I'd be afraid to run and afraid to go. Million scenes, they're all scarring me, but I could not see. I was incomplete. What is this feeling? So strong, so deep, how could I miss it? The light I'm feeling, the stir of spirit. Now I'm gonna pray, be the light, and feel the love, pray. Oh, now I'm gonna pray. So strong, so deep, how could I miss it? The love is changing, the stir of spirit. Now I'm gonna pray, be the light, and feel the love. Now I'm gonna pray, be the light, gonna feel the love. And now I'm gonna pray, and feel the light, feel the love. For Reverend Ogun.
Wow. Are we a church of celebration or what? Maura Lynch, our music director. Alex Valente on keyboard. Leslie Smith, Meg Rain on backup vocals. Thank you all. That was fabulous. We are a church of celebration, and we celebrate our children and families. Let's welcome in our children in their youth ministry.
We are walking in the light of God. 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 We are walking, walking, we are walking, oh, we are walking in the light of God. We are walking, walking, we are walking, oh, we are walking in the light of God.
Good morning, everyone. Today we had so much fun in youth and family ministry. We first started our service today by going over the 12 powers. Each of our children have picked a 12 power for the year, and they know each of the 12 powers, and we'll be going over them each week this month as well as once a month during the year. We also wrote our letters to God today. Becca and Matt took the children in the peace room and they wrote their letters to God, so they're all set as well, deep in prayer and meditation and getting ready for their year. So thank you.
All right, thank you, youth and family. Anybody going to come and pray with Reverend Ogun and I, other than my son? All right, Hannah, come on. Please rise as we sing our peace song to close our service today.
Gotta wait, gotta wait. So remember this week, God is I am. Go create your experience. Let's say the prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. We are the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. We are the love of God. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. We are richly blessed.
Alex Valente wrote the changes behind this. Go, Alex. Thank you, boys in the band. Chuck, Stevie, Keith, and Alex ruling it. Choir until Leslie Smith, who came in to do those meow meow in the back. Have a great week, everybody. See you next week.
I just thought, yeah, I was